Hey guys, Tom Fernandez here with the Legacy Crusade Financial. And today, guys, we're going to be talking about IULs, but we're going to be talking about it more in terms that a client, an individual looking for an IUL can understand. As an agent, I go on some of these videos myself online just to see what they're talking about. Sometimes they can be very confusing. I'm going to make it as simple as possible. I'm going to leave out the technical jargon, and I know some agents are going to give me flack for it, but it's just so that I can convey my message more to you. And what we're going to be talking about is properly structuring an IUL, right? You hear that all the time, max funding and all this stuff. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you something to walk away with today that if you're looking for an IUL, you can run across your agent and say, hey, are you doing it this way? And the key here I'm going to show you is how I, as an agent, drop my commissions on these drastically so that the money that I would have made goes into your cash value, right? I'm going to briefly explain the IUL so that you kind of understand the max funding and all this stuff. Max funding is pretty simple. It's just saying, hey, when you get an IUL, the guidelines say that based off what you're putting into it monthly, you decide. As the client, you're sitting there, you're saying, what can I afford, right? And then your agent should be doing a comprehensive analysis to make sure that you can actually afford it. Let's say you come to the conclusion you can put $500 a month. Well, what happens in our software, we can go in here and we can choose an option that says, hey, what's the smallest death benefit possible for this $500 a month? Software spit out, it'll say something like, hey, the smallest death benefit, just for example purposes, is $500,000. Cool. So the average agent will go, all right, so the minimum death benefit is $500,000. The majority of your cash is going to go to your growth, and then the rest of the remaining money will go into to fund your death benefit. Awesome. But what we found is that there's ways to reduce our own commission even more, still satisfy that $500,000 guideline that the IRS is imposing, and allow most of the cash to go to your cash value. This is a trick that we've learned. This is what you want to kind of take your pen out and take notes. And what you want to do is, your goal is to satisfy this minimum death benefit. Let's just say $500,000. What you can do, most agents simply just do minimum death benefit max cash in their computer. But what we can do is we can go back into that software and we can say, hey, you know what? I want to blend this death benefit. Here's an example. Let's say that the company allows you to do a 1-to-4 blend, meaning that $100,000 of that $500,000 goes into the base, which is the more expensive life insurance. You're paying more money on the $100,000, but then you take the remaining death benefit, the $400,000, and you put it into the supplemental rider. What that does is that drops the agent's commission drastically, because the supplemental term rider cost is minute compared to the base. Just satisfied that death benefit, drop the cost of that insurance drastically, and now that money that would have went to my commission, they call it the commissionable premium, is going back to the client. And we've seen commissions drop drastically. I had an individual that he was structuring a policy wrong, an agent. He would have made 40 grand on it, but because we did it properly, we dropped it. He made 4 grand, but the rest of that money he would have made went to the client. Now, most agents hate that I'm saying this because they're like, oh man, you're giving away our secrets, or you're cutting in my commission. But the truth is, the faster that we put money into the client's policy, the happier the clients are, because they're seeing their money grow faster. And there's a few things that we've noticed, and I'm going to end with this when structuring these policies. Number one, the break-even point is sooner. What's a break-even point? It's pretty simple. The amount of cash value available is equal to what you put in. For example, let's say you're putting $10,000 a year and you're structuring it the old way I said, just minimum death benefit max cash. And let's say that you're putting $10,000 a year, and let's say that you reach $100,000 by year 10. That means that you've put in $100,000 of your money, and by year 10 your cash value reaches $100,000. That's your break even, meaning what you put in and what you have available is even. What we've noticed when we've done this is the break-even point is sooner. Sometimes year 5, sometimes year 6, sometimes year 7. The break-even point is sooner. Instead of waiting 10 years to break even, at year 5 you break even. So now your money can start compounding sooner, right? And that's a good thing for you as the client. You want to see your money compounding sooner than later. The second benefit that we've noticed is clients have access to their money faster, more of it. And what do I mean? When you're putting your money into the policy, there's typically a time frame until you have access to that money. Sometimes it's year 3, 4, 5. But if you structure it the right way, right, and you do the supplemental insurance blended in, what I've noticed is that year 1 and 2, you have access to more of your cash, which is huge, because if I'm in a bind or I need to borrow some of that money, I can go in there year 1 or 2, borrow it, and then go put it right back in. That's the trick. If you're looking to get an IUL, ask your agent, do you know how to blend the supplemental term with the base? And if they don't, you can teach them, show them, watch them this video and share it with them. Or you can call us. We'll sit down and we'll help you structure one. But that's one aspect of it. There's several other things. I just don't want to get into it because these videos tend to run long and people tend to forget. But I wanted to teach you the key, the most important, is how to drop that commissionable premium by doing a blended death benefit of some supplemental term with that base. All right. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. You can comment on this video or subscribe. And you can also visit legacycrusade.com.